Chapter 2 The Classic. In my last video, I mentioned a little bit of history about the whole Kingdom franchise. How the success of the first Kingdom Flash game basically kickstarted this whole thing and might have led to the foundation of Raw Fury. Here I want to expand on the whole dev and publishing history since there's quite a bit to talk about, but if you didn't watch my last video, watch it now, link in the description. So what happened so far? After the success of the Flash game Kingdom Roots, which is not on the Raw Fury website, that's strange but understandable since they didn't publish it, the developer aka Nayo started a Kickstarter campaign to develop the whole idea into a full game. So let's have a look at the Kickstarter. Basically, the Kickstarter promised a bigger and better game. This new game would have a better AI that doesn't behave like a complete stupid robot. Yeah, that sounds good. More jobs like the Shepherd. Well, okay, I can get behind that. Weather having certain effects on things like farms. Alright, farms are useless, but okay. They also promised fire, good and bad.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
There was also talk about random encounters and perks and technologies for the kingdom to use that you could find in the newly added forest. How important is all of this? Not at all, but bear with me. On top of all of that, they promised physical rewards like stickers and beta testing depending on how much money you pledged. The Kickstarter heavily emphasizes that the game would be released for iOS, then Android and then PC. The whole campaign reached 4,012 euros out of 8,000, so basically 50%. Unfortunately, the campaign was cancelled in May 2014, but for a good reason. The devs received a government grant called the Nordic Game Program. Even though the campaign was cancelled, the dev kept updating the backers, and in October 2015, the game Kingdom Classic Nothing Ever Lasts was released by the publishing company Raw Fury that was actually founded in early 2015. Raw Fury was actually not founded by Nayo, it was created by Gordon von Dijk, a former producer of EA DICE, and Jonas Antonsson, which I have no idea who is. So Raw Fury is kind of a good version of EA. Instead of publishing unfinished and overly monetized games, they publish good indie games that are good and you should play them. This is not sponsored, by the way. Let's get back to the game and you will understand why I put the history of the game first before talking about the actual game. What is Kingdom Classic? Kingdom Classic is basically the idea of Kingdom Roots, just 100 times better. I thought I could just repeat most of what I've said in the last video, but I can't because there are some big differences between Roots and Classic. You are the monarch, again, and your job is to survive and free the land of the enemy called the Greed. The monarch works pretty much the same way as in the Flash game, but one thing is changed: the pouch. In Roots, you couldn't see how many coins you had exactly in your pouch. Here you can. Coins are physical objects that drop inside your pouch, and they can actually drop out of the pouch if there is no space inside of your pouch. Way too many pouches. So you have to actually strategize when to collect coins from your subjects. As you can imagine, almost everything changed as well. Your lands, your units, your structures, and subjects likewise. Let's start with the land. Now your kingdom is not a wide open field, but a forest. It's pretty patchy, but it's definitely a forest. The boundaries of the map are marked by 2 so-called cliff portals. This will be important later on. Let's start with the most important unit of the whole franchise, the vagrants. Vagrants are now located in so-called vagrant camps. There is always at least one inside of the forest right side of your camp. You still hire vagrants by throwing coins at their heads, and the shock will turn them into civilized subjects. After hiring a vagrant from the camp, the game will spawn a new vagrant after half a day, basically giving you the opportunity to potentially hire 4 vagrants a day. This information is not that important because there are several vagrant camps around the map. You can also destroy the vagrant camp, but this will come up later, so let's leave it at that. So after shocking vagrants into becoming subjects, they will move towards your camp. They are still slow, but it does not really matter in this game because there's always 1 or 2 vagrant camps right outside of your main camp. Different to Roots, in Classic, to be able to do anything with your citizens, you have to invest in your main camp. The main camp starts as a bonfire, and by investing 3 coins it becomes a small camp with a tent. Wait, what? 3 coins you say? Yes, 3. There are different prices for different things now. This is the only time we'll mention the exact cost of something because you shouldn't care, this game is not about prices. So after you invest in the camp, you will be rewarded with 2 shops, the barracks on the left and the utility shop on the right. Shops have now vendors. They look really cute and they are really creepy because they are direct clones of each other. I can see what you are. Fucking sorcery. Either way, after buying a bow or hammer, citizens will pick up those tools and become either archers or builders. Archers hunt and defend, and builders, well, they build mainly walls. Archers aren't dumb anymore, they will run back to your camp at night and will actually stay behind the walls. And oh yeah, they won't forget to give you the coins you need to play the game. Melitelli, bless Nayo for giving us AI that is not completely brain dead. Builders are a little bit different though. They still build walls and it works the same way as the Flash game. Find a dirt hill, invest money, wait for construction. Walls have still 4 levels and everything is pretty much the same, but workers can now cut down trees. The monarch can mark a tree and builders will automatically cut down those trees. The little problem here, subjects are slow and builders tend to stay at the spot that the tree was cut down. You might think that is not a big deal, but you will see why there's a problem later on. Wait, what about farmers? Plowing past, do we need to talk about farmers? Okay, let's talk about farmers. In the first game you could expand your kingdom by building walls. Well, if you expand your kingdom to the right side of this game and upgrade your main camp to level 3, then a new shop will appear. The Scythe Shop. Buy a scythe, have a citizen. Oh look, you have a new farmer. What do you do now? Well, farmers don't do much until you build a farm, so you have to build a farm. Then you have to invest in the farm. You know what?
Shut the fuck up. No one cares about your robot fanfiction. Know your fucking place, trash.
If you want to know something about farmers, do it yourself. Buy the game and find it out. Farmers were useless in the last game and they are useless here too. I like how farmers look like, and I like how farmhouses look like, but they are pretty much useless. I only invest in farms when I have too much money to spend on anything. So let's leave farms behind and move on to some new stuff. After reaching level 4 of your camp and expanding for the first time, you get access to the weapons workshop. And at max level, which you need to upgrade the church by the way, you get access to the knights. Investing in the weapons workshop will reward you with a catapult. This version of the workshop looks out of place because it's basically just 2 wooden arrows. Yeah, I don't like that, especially because the game is consistent in style and the workshop is a big break from that. As you can imagine, you can get 2 catapults, 1 for each side. 2 builders are going to operate the catapult, so you need to invest in a few of them as well. By the way, catapults are slow, frustratingly slow, so keep that in mind when playing. Next on the chopping block, knights. Knights are cool. You don't understand. From how they look, how they act, knights are just the coolest and cutest subject out of all of them. To get a knight, you just need to buy a shield from your castle, which will be displayed in front of the castle. Citizens will pick up the shield and become knights, and from then on a banner will be shown in front of the castle. Knights will then enlist 4 archers, making a battalion, and the archers will no longer hunt. In this game you can only have 2 knights on each side, not really important, just a fun fact. Now you might ask, what do knights do? Isn't this a perfect time to talk about enemies? In this game you have 3 enemies, the greed, the breeders, and the floaters, or at least that's how the community calls them. They spawn from portals that are deep in the forest. There are 6 portals in total, by the way, 3 on each side. 4 of them being the standing portals and 2 of them being the cliff portals. This will come up again in a moment. The greed is pretty much the trolls from the first game, but they don't jump. The breeders are similar to troll bosses, but they do have the added bonus that they are walking greed spawn. They puke little greed out. You heard correctly, that's exactly what I'm saying, I'm not kidding. And the floaters float and abduct subjects. They are an okay addition to the roster of enemies, but I wished there were more enemies somehow. Wait, that can't be what I'm talking about. So let's go back to the knights. Knights can be sent to attack the portals by expanding a kingdom and sending them out of the outer walls. Knights will rush towards the portal with determination, and they will protect the archers until the portal is destroyed. After the archers destroy the portal, the knights leave the archers on their own and book it. They know the danger, they won't get eaten by some greedy monster. And oh yeah, after destroying a portal, a flood of breeders and floaters come out of the next available portal, and the Blood Moon event starts. So after every attack on portals, you will lose your battalion except for 1 knight. 1 knight seems always to survive somehow. The Blood Moon isn't as dangerous as in Roots. The waves are bigger and there are more breeders and floaters, but it's not that hard, especially if you make use of the catapults and newly added statues. Yes, you heard correctly, statues. They are also deep in the forest and they buff your subjects. 1 statue enhances the accuracy of your archers and the other buffs the HP of the walls. That's it. They are not very interactive. You should make use of them, but I think they aren't necessary to win. So how do you win? After you destroy 5 portals and survive 1 last wave, you win the game. Wait, that's way too fast. Yes. There's a win state in this game, which I would say is an improvement over the Flash game, but the game can be pretty short if you know what you're doing. 1 campaign can last under 1 hour. And here I want to make a few criticisms towards this game and the franchise in general. Kingdom is about exploration and discovery, right? At the same time it wants to be a strategy game that is laid back and looks pretty cool. You see the problem? For a strategy game to work, you have to know what you're playing with. So divorcing essential parts of the game, like information about statues or whatever, just makes the game longer for no reason. I can finish the game in less than 1 hour, but that's only because I know what everything does and how the AI reacts to my commands. Someone that has no idea what everything does will feel frustrated for the first few hours, very much like I feel when I play Roots. The game tries to teach you by design, but it doesn't. You can find or guess what things do, but you have to discover it first. Try it out, die and repeat. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this isn't enough for 20 hours. Oh, by Melitelli's sake. How did I spend 20 hours on this game? What? Huh? So let's leave him behind and move on with this. Let's bring the Kickstarter back. Remember Fire and Shepherds and the mobile version? Oh yeah, and the unicorn from the original Kickstarter video. Yeah, they're not here. It's 1 single land with a win state, and that's it. It's a gigantic jump from the Flash game to this one, but it seems that something is missing. The base idea was expanded on, but the game isn't challenging anymore. So it's basically a gigantic step forward and 1 small step backward. Okay, here's how I would summarize the whole game again. Kingdom Classic is a bigger, very minimal, less frustrating strategy game that encourages you to stop and enjoy the scenery now and again, discover new mechanics, and spend way too much hours playing the game. I think that is pretty accurate. How do I end this again? Remember Raw Fury? Yeah, they published Kingdom New Lands the next year. Noyo was also very involved in that game. Will we see how much change? But I think you will be, well, not disappointed, but you will feel different. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you watched the first part. If not, watch it now. I have many hours in those games. I basically 100%ed them, so I think I have an authority about when I'm talking about those things. Also, if you like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications. Yeah, do all the typical YouTube stuff that people tell you to do. Take care of yourselves and have a nice and wonderful day.